And so people started to talk about the boundaries, the planetary boundary, study the boundaries within which we can have a stable global environmental condition for our civilization to continue. And so people studied this so-called planetary boundary condition based on science and also on the data that people have collected throughout the globe. And this is what people call planetary boundary. And this is, as I just mentioned, people using assessment and synthesis of scientific knowledge of the biophysical processes that regulate the stability of the Earth system. And the idea is that we want to find out what are the boundaries within which we can maintain a Holocene-like state of the Earth. So that is what people have studied, and they studied the so-called tipping points, at the points at which the balance, the stability started to fail. So how far have we gone already? And these are some of the results. Inside where you have the green area are different states of the environment, which if they are in the green area, then they are still within the safe boundary. And the red ones are the ones that are already approaching or over the safe, safe boundary values, planetary boundary values that people have investigated. And you can see these are like climate change, like ocean acidification, and biodiversity, and so forth. And you can see there are 3 areas that people have already identified as already passing the tipping point. The worst case really is biodiversity. The extinction rate of species are really very, very dangerous. And also climate change. It's also the nitrogen cycle. Those are the 3 areas that people have found that they are already over the boundary. And people are continuing doing some work. Those are the 3 areas that, these are some newer, more recent studies. But the idea I'd like to show you here is that those 3 areas that we have already crossed the boundary. First is the climate change that really is due to the greenhouse gas emission. And you can see the planetary boundary people have put is 350 ppm, and the current value, this actually is already out of date because the current value is already over 400 as some of you might know already. And the pre-industrial revolution value is around 280. So we are already over that. And similarly, in the rate of biodiversity loss and also the nitrogen cycle. Those are the three areas where we have already crossed the boundary. Okay, and to kind of summarize what I've just mentioned, the evolution of modern society has been dependent on the existence of stable, functioning Earth system defined by the planetary boundary framework. And however, as the planetary boundary framework is implemented, it is essential if we want to keep the planetary boundary, but while doing that, it's essential that some of the immediate human needs, such as the provision of clean, affordable energy, and adequate supply of food, etc., are satisfied. Now, when we try to do this, we have to remember this. And then world development within the biophysical limits of the planetary boundary has always been a necessity. This necessity sometimes during the past 20 or 30 years has been neglected by some of the society, some part of our society, and so sometimes people would not allow any development. But as we can see from the planetary boundary research, that actually the development has been a necessity. We still have to have development, and so because of that, people started to talk about sustainable development.